look good on you. How are you guys this morning? Good. You all right? That was me. Walking in my footsteps, girl. Um, yeah. We'll see how this goes this morning. It usually goes pretty good, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michaela. What's your name? Okay. Oh, I remember that. And yours? Cheyenne. Nice to meet you, ladies. Glad you're here. Man, was I here last week? Or was it the week before? It was the week before, right? Okay. All right, man. So lots happened. This feels like a lot, like emotionally, but I almost decided to take a step back on leading chapels, mainly just to do like some self-reflections, because like God just pulling stuff up out of me that I didn't realize I still have like to work on, you know. But I came here Wednesday. My daughter got baptized, and yeah, super awesome. And I shared with one person that I was thinking about taking this step back, and he was like, well, I don't want to stop you from you doing what you think God is calling you to do, but I feel like that would be a huge mistake. And he said, you know, do whatever you got to do. He said, but I just don't think you realize what kind of a help you are to us here. And then I didn't say anything else about it, you know. One thing he did say, he was like, I think you just need to remember why you even started this in the first place. And this is one of you guys. I won't point him out, but it's one of you guys that told me that. And it was very interesting because he's newer and wasn't here to even know why I started this in the first place. So, but I went home with that, and well, through that night, there was a couple other people. Someone that doesn't even go here walked up to me and like shook my hand. He was like, "I've chimed into your chapels, and I want you to know that I really like what you say." And so it was just like confirmations, like, Michaela, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? You know, like, I need you to hang in there, kind of, sort of thing. And so it's really easy to get honest and put everybody else's stuff out there, but whenever God starts telling you to talk more about your own stuff, I wanted to just like disappear. I don't want to be like I've shared a lot of my personal stuff, but sometimes it comes out more as though, like with my husband, and those of you who don't know, like I'm sure you'll catch on eventually. I'll help you out with that later. But my husband and I have been through a lot of trials that tried to literally destroy our relationship, and I've come in here and I've talked about a lot of the things that he put us through. And recently, I kind of brought up to his attention something that I think happened, that I really feel in my spirit, like happened, you know. And I even talked to you guys a couple weeks ago about wanting that accountability, wanting that apology, wanting and I fell into it. Even after I came here and I talked to you guys and I poured my heart out that that's not what we're supposed to do, I went home and I did it. And I felt like, good God, what am I doing? Like, here I am. I felt so hypocritical because here I am telling you guys what we are and what we're not supposed to do, and then I go home and I do it. And so I was like, maybe I do need to take a step back. Maybe I need to reevaluate, you know, myself and where I'm at and what I'm doing. And then in that confrontation, you know, I'll tell you, he really put me in my place in a very kind but very stern way. My husband did. And it was like, so one certain person did some really terrible things in life and really hurt me. And I was able to forgive him in the way that I could still communicate with him. And you normally wouldn't do that with somebody that did that kind of something. And my husband pointed out, he said, I just don't understand how you could forgive him and still communicate with him, but you're holding this against me for so long, and you just won't let it go. And that just really hit me. I was like, oh, man, like, you're so right. And he is. Why does that person deserve forgiveness, but yet the person who loves me and is here for me every day, who is making all of these positive changes, he's completely sobered up, he's going to AA, he's trying to prove himself every day, and all I keep doing is rejecting it. Yeah, right? It does. Yeah. And so that conversation, like having that confrontation, I look back at it and I'm like I thank God for that confrontation, because it helped me to see where I was really going wrong and really pushed me into being able to do that self-reflection and knowing where I needed to self-reflect at. And, whenever, it's just sometimes it can be so scary to trust what God has given you right now, especially whenever it's been taken from you or it's been completely disrupted in every way possible. And by what I mean is, like, you have everything right now. I know, like, it doesn't look like it right now, but from my personal testimony, right now, like, I have everything that I've ever prayed to have. I got my kids back. I have a home. I have a stable relationship. I have, like we have it. And still, I keep finding myself shrinking back to this desire to just want more. Not more like physical stuff, not more money, like not more of that, but more effort. I want to see more effort. I want this other person to just keep, like, do more, show me, but what am I doing? Like, in reality, like, all I'm doing is expecting more from this person, but I'm not putting in the effort because of my own fear. Because he did make choices before, but some of those choices I played into also. And while I'm sitting here mad and upset and frustrated that I feel like he's not taking accountability, the real one that's not taking accountability has been me. Because I've been so focused on him and the hurt and the choices that he made, but I wasn't taking the accountability for my own, the parts that I played into my own heartbreak. And, like, God started revealing these certain things to me that, I am sometimes, most of the time, really blind to my own issues. To, like, like how Pastor says, you don't come out of a burning house not smelling like smoke. It's just, you don't. But I walk around, and even in my own head, like, I don't allow myself to really look at myself as though I might have some deep-rooted issues, that stem from family members, that's generational stuff. And really, that's the kind of stuff that we're supposed to really look at within ourselves. But for me, in order to do that, this was like it's like a, I hate it, but I'm grateful for it at the same time kind of thing. I recognized within myself that something that my father used to do is something that I've been doing. And it's that thing where you'll see, and it is because of trauma. It's a lot of trauma. And it's just, so, like, when I was a kid, my dad had 9 kids. Like, we were a blended family. There was 9 of us. And it didn't matter which one of us was in trouble, but my dad would see one little something and make it into, like, his own story of what he thought, and was so sure that you were thinking and doing it. Like, for instance, I wanted to join the basketball team in middle school. And he told me that, like, I was really excited about joining basketball and wanting to, like, be more active and do those sort of things. And instead of my dad supporting that decision, he built up this whole story and told me exactly what he thought that I would be doing rather than playing basketball. In his head, he's like, no, you don't want to go to play basketball. You want to go so you can do all the other stuff whenever I'm not around. And that wasn't even anything that I just wanted to play in freaking middle school. But he built up, it's called a delusional disorder, where you see one little something and you build it into your own idea of what you think, what you are so sure of that that person is going to do. And it has a lot to do with, like, betrayal, with trauma, with distrust, And I really, like, at first, and God's revealed this to me before, but I deemed it as the devil trying to tell me, like, something, so that, like, I spun it into this whole thing. And it really takes discernment to know God's voice in something. So probably a year and a half ago, like, God told me, like, put that idea into my head, that memory of how my dad used to do that to us. And we couldn't convince him that, no, Dad, like, I'm not doing that. And we always got in trouble for things that he just thought. And so this time, like, I said, I guess I received it instead of just, like, pushing it off, because this time I'm at a place where I can do more of that self-reflection in that way. And I hate it because, God, I hate it because I've tried to never be like that one person. I'm talking. You want to say hi?
No.
Okay. Nuh-uh, we can't go on the stage. Thank you. He's going to test me. Silas, no, come on. No, you better stay right there. Don't be touching that stuff. Uh-oh. Anyway, so we, like, I know I'm not alone in this, but we fight our entire lives to not be like somebody else that hurt us, or that we hated the way that they did certain things. But why are you over that far? You're supposed to be right here. You're trying, aren't you? Don't make me pull those pearls. Huh? Maybe in a second. Let's see how far he pushes us. Anyway, so whenever he, like, started revealing this something to me, I got really angry. And I remember a year and a half ago when I first had this thought, the devil will try to, he'll try to twist God's word and what he's speaking to you to make it so that you won't receive it. Does that make sense? Because it's something that really helped me, like, this time, to really unlock that. Hey, Mr. Silas. Thank you. But I know a year and a half ago when I first heard it, I told myself, like, no, he would really like that, wouldn't he? Like, he would like for me to believe that I'm crazy so that he doesn't have to take accountability for all of these things. And it kept me from being able to really look at myself and recognize that issue that I had. But this time, I really thought about it, and it made me really angry. Not angry at God, it made me angry at the devil that I missed it a year and a half ago. And if I would have just looked into it then, I wouldn't have been here. But at the same time, all of the lessons that I've learned over the year and a half are so great, And I believe that God allows us to see certain aspects of ourselves at specific times. Because, just his timing. Only God knows why. But this time, I was able to receive it, and now I know where I'm going wrong in certain areas, and learning how to deal with that and not be like that. Like sometimes we have to be able to accept the harder truths about ourselves in order to know where to fight and how to fight and what to do with it so that the devil doesn't win anymore. Like this is a thing that I didn't know was an issue that it literally was controlling me. It would put me in this thought, like that cage, like I keep coming back to that cage, and I couldn't figure out why do I keep coming back to this place that God set me free from. And it's just that mindset. It's that mindset. I get so stuck on that one something, and I tell myself every reason why I can't trust it, why I can't trust it. And ultimately, it comes down to one thing, and it's fear. Fear. I am so afraid to trust that what I have is God blessed and that God is going to carry it and that he's going to make sure that I have exactly what, like, I'm afraid to trust that it's real. I'm afraid to trust, like, does anybody else ever feel that way? Like you're afraid to trust that it's real right now because it's everything you've wanted, and you're so terrified that just one thing's going to come along and it's going to knock it right down. So everything good that tries to come your way, you reject it and you push it away because you're scared. You're scared to accept that this is a good place and it's okay to enjoy where you're at right now. And that's something like I'm so grateful to be able to recognize that within my own life. Yeah, exactly. You're just waiting for that shoe to drop where it's all like you're just going to be right back where you just came from, where you just spent the last 3, 4, 5 years coming out of. And now that you're here, now you don't want to trust that God's got you. And it's just, man, I'm telling you, I was in my workout room and I stomped my foot and I said a couple good choice words. And just told the devil, like, you're not going to win. And just thanked God. I thanked God for revealing that to me and giving me the peace in that situation. But it didn't just help me understand me. It also helped me understand my husband and why I'm not getting from him what I need. It's because he's not getting from me what he needs. Support. He's not getting that support. He's not getting that validation like, hey, babe, you really are doing a good job. And I fear telling him those good things because I don't want it to stop. And if I tell him those good things, I fear that he's going to think I'm doing a good enough job. I don't have to do anymore. But I don't believe that that's really how it's going to go. Not at all, right? But why do we fall into that thing, like that stinking thinking? And just like my husband, like I made some rice last night, and he's done this pretty often throughout our relationship. But he'll give me a small compliment on something, and then he'll say, "Kinda, yeah," and he'll say, "I can't give you too much good credit because then it's gonna blow your head up." And last night I told him like he really raved about it, and then he was like, I better stop. Like he said it again. And I said, when you don't compliment me, it makes me feel like I'm worthless and not good enough. I said, but when you tell me how good of a job that I'm doing, and I was preaching to myself, and I'm like, oh my God, like here we go. And then also, we had a little like, God is, he's reconciling me with my sisters and stuff, and I'm telling you, and my husband, oh, God bless him, our conversations together are literally everything is like terrible, but we find places to be able to go back and like laugh at because our life was terrible, you guys. There's not a lot of happy moments, and my husband, like he took a moment and he stepped out. Like me and my sisters were laughing, and he steps out. He's like, I don't need to hear this. I don't know. And I didn't understand where he was coming from until later. Like, I could tell something was wrong. So I pulled him to the side and I was like, what's going on with you? And he was like, I don't need to hear that. He's like, it hurts me to hear that. And I was like, okay. Like, and it kind of blew up into this big thing, but it also helped me to, I was like, well, you know what? Like, Holy Spirit talking to me. I was really bothered. I was really bothered, and I was mad at him. I was mad at him for having that kind of a reaction over something that I was like 15 for, you know? And I was just like, man, like, fear, this entire time that we've been married, has told me that I can't be open with this man because he's not gonna like what he hears. I was terrified to tell him about my childhood and my upbringing and all of these terrible things, because I didn't want it to scare him away. I didn't want it to change how he saw me for who I am today. And then in that moment, I was like, I even told him, I told him that I don't want to be afraid anymore for you to know where I come from. And it's scary. It is so scary to me, because I still don't want him to think different of me or see me different because of where I came from. But at the same time, that's where I have to put fear aside and trust that his love for me is greater than anything I ever came from. And it's a stepping stone for him too, God is just, he's doing something so much bigger than what I can see in that little moment, you know? Like, it's a growing, like, pulling us closer, but it's, God, it's so scary. Huh? That's right, yeah, yeah. And you know, I put myself in my husband's shoes because through his alcoholism and stuff, when he would get drunk, I would hear some awful things, some things that I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to hear. And a lot of it was hurtful. And so I put myself back in that place of how I felt whenever I had to hear those things. And it softened my heart a little bit to be able to understand where. And so that, like, just in that, I saw where God was. Like, I had to go through that so that in this moment I could understand where he's at. And I find that just so beautiful that God can do that. Like, something that I hated going through, he's using it now to help me understand so that I can have empathy and sympathize and be able to respect where he's coming from now. And you know, I said a lot in that little bit of a moment. But I keep getting pulled back to the Israelites who were enslaved to Pharaoh. And I talked a little bit about it before, and it was kind of broken a little bit. I wasn't real sure, like, where Holy Spirit was going with that. But I keep coming back to it, and it just speaks so much to me for what I'm going through and how I see, like, my life timeline. And I believe that you guys will be able to relate to it with what I'm fixing to share with you guys, is that, you know, the Israelites, they were, because of the famine, they were pushed into Egypt. And Egypt was a place that they had plenty. They could live comfortable. They could be, like, have everything that they needed provided for them, you know. You need it, you got it, here it is, type of thing. And they get there, they're welcomed in, they get comfortable, and then all of a sudden something happens, and they are no longer able to live freely in Egypt. They are now enslaved to Pharaoh. And I, like, thinking about that, I'm like, that's what life does. That's what life does sometimes. We go to a place and we think we're in a good place. And then something all of a sudden happens, and your whole life is changed. And then they live that way for 400 years. And like my own life, I lived a certain way for so many years that now that I'm free, I keep trying to go back to that comfort, that comfortable place. And I relate now more to the Israelites whenever they are standing with Moses and they keep questioning, I don't know which passage it is, but they're in the desert, like he's already given them freedom. Like they're in a place where they can make a choice. They can make a choice to either go back or they can move forward. And all that they can think about is where they're going to die. Where, like, they don't see that where God is trying to take them is a better place. And all that they can sit there and do is argue about where they're going to die. And a lot of them would argue that going back and dying where they know is more comfortable to just live out whatever, if death is the answer, I'd rather go back and die there than to go over here and experience freedom and die over here. And I'm like, man, Michaela, like that's such a word. That is such a word. You're looking at the wrong thing. You're looking at all of the issues and all of the problems and you're trying to figure out like what he can do to fix them, and it's not even about that. And then I heard something, it said, instead of trying to assess the damage that something caused, assess the loss. Assess the loss. Don't assess all the damage that you got from it, because if you look at just the damage of it, that's all you're going to get. But if you can assess what you lost, was that thing that you lost actually a gain? And I thought about that, and I was like, at first I was like, that don't make no sense. Like, it's not loss of gain. And then she went on to talk about this, assessing your losses. And she said a lot of times, like, if you really think about it, you don't get to gain anything without losing something. You really don't, if you think about it. Like, you sit here and you pray for a job and you pray for a job, and then you get the job, but then you lose the free time that you had when you didn't have a job. And you're grateful because you're getting fulfilled over here, but then you become ungrateful because you don't have the free time over here. And then, like, parenthood, you become a parent and you lose friends along the way because now you're a parent, but you're happy, and that loss isn't so significant because you're being fulfilled over here. Yeah. But then there's this other something, there's one loss that is greater than anything else, and it's the loss of your soul. And so she was saying, like, if you look at all of the damages that you've come unto, like, what have you really lost? If you lost the job, if you lost your children, if you lost these, I don't want to say little because that's a big loss, but if you gain the whole world but lose your soul, do you know what it means whenever it says lose? Let me see if I can remember the word. I think she said it means, darn it, I knew I would lose it. The Hebrew word, I'll have to look it up and get back to you guys on that, but it was so impactful because it doesn't mean lose like how we lose. I think she said it means impacted. And but anyway, so I started thinking about like the losses, because God also started reminding me about the good parts of who I used to be. Because I have hardened my heart a lot. I used to be a really soft and compassionate and very giving person, and now like I'm like that Pharaoh heart, not necessarily in the way of God, but kind of am actually. Because I reject what God is trying to give me through my husband. And in turn, what is that doing to him in the process? It's not making us closer, it's pushing us further apart. And even though I crave that closeness, I'm not getting it because of what I'm doing. And so I started thinking about like who I used to be in that sense of like the compassionate. And then Pastor gets in here and talks about the simplicity and I forgot the other word. Do you guys remember? I don't remember the other word. Anyway, and it kind of like confirmed that the way that I was feeling is exactly like where I need to be thinking. To go back to those softer places and allow myself to be that God spirit. I don't have to harden myself and be afraid to love and to accept love because of what happened. And if I keep looking back at all of the things that this person has done, how am I ever going to be able to even begin to just be open? How, like, he can't reconcile and rebuild what I won't allow him to do, and what I won't allow myself to do, really, because my husband really is trying, and I just fear. Fear takes so much from us, more than we realize. It takes more than just your joy. It does, huh? It does. It holds you back from everything that God's trying to do. Yeah. And when I came in, I shared my deliverance story with you guys. And I was delivered from fear. I saw in that moment fear itself like detached from me and like screaming out because it couldn't stay. God freed me from that fear, but I'm choosing to stay living in that fear. It's not even a part of me anymore, but yet I'm choosing it. And so when I realize what I'm allowing to happen, this is where I have to take control and say, no, I'm not going to let fear stop me. Every time I want to reject it, I'm going to receive him more. I'm going to receive him. I'm going to pour love out. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to hold it back, because that's not who God is. That's not who God is. Thank you. Oh, goodness. It's so hard. And like today, I didn't even know what I was really going to get up here and say, and I didn't know where it was going to go. Yes, ma'am. And then God sends these beautiful moments through you guys. Miss Pam, she saw me over there, and she just walks up and like, can I pray for you? And the words that came out of her mouth were exactly what I needed to be prayed for. And thank you so much for that. You have no idea. Maybe you do, I don't know. But thank you. And I don't know what God is going to really do with my life, but I do trust God. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, that even if I can't trust the people that are right in front of me, I can trust where God has me standing, because there is a reason that God told me to stand here. And to stop where God has you would be a mistake. So I encourage every single one of you guys with that, don't stop because it gets hard. Don't stop because God starts making you be real with yourself. That would be a mistake. If you stop when God really starts trying to pull at you, because all he's trying to do is uncover those dark places that are still within you. He's trying to shine light on those deeper issues that you have that you don't know that you have yet. And if you can just take a moment before you reject the thoughts, because a lot of times those thoughts that we have, we give credit to Satan for, because it's not what we think God would want to say. Because like when God started talking to me about this issue that my father had, for me to accept that I have that same issue, I thought, no way in hell, to be honest with you. And it made me angry, because I don't want to be anything like my dad. I love him from a very large distance, but I don't want to, and especially have to admit to myself that I carry those same issues. But if I don't receive that word, how can God ever clean it out of me? And if I don't face that hard, how is God going to be able to push me through to the next thing? And so I really encourage you guys to stick with it. It's going to get hard. It's going to get challenging. You're not going to always like what God is speaking to you. And if you rebuke it and it keeps coming back, it's because it's God and not the devil. So, all right. I'll try it. Right? I see myself one day like really preaching, y'all. I just got to get the nerve to do it, the confidence. But yes, if you guys don't get anything else out of that, out of anything I've said today, that's what I feel like you guys really need to hear. And that's what you need to take home. Don't quit just because it feels hard. And something else out there, it may look like it's what God is calling you to because it looks good, but it may not be the thing. It's going to be the thing that's trying to pull you away from the real God thing right here. Because a lot of times we get distracted by the things that we see as good, and maybe it is good, but it might not be the time. God has you here at this time for a specific reason, and a lot of times most people, we don't have that discernment to be able to really question and answer, where do I need to be? Do I need to go and do what I think I need to do over there, or is right here where I need to be? And it's really hard to be able to discern that if you don't have a prayer life with God, if you don't stay in communication. And one more thing about like prayer life is you can ask God to do all of these certain things, and you won't even realize that God is already doing them. I would highly encourage you guys to just thank God for what you're asking him for. Just thank him for what you're asking him for, because he's already doing it. Like every morning we get up and we ask God for his protection and to come into our hearts. And in my mind, I hear that coming out of my husband's mouth, and I tell myself, like, he's already doing it. Like, God is already here. Just keep showing up, God. Just keep showing up. So just stick with it, you guys. I'm not going to give up. I texted Mark, I think it was Thursday, and I told him, this kind of revelation that I've had, and that I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to take a step back, because wouldn't the enemy love that? Wouldn't he love for me to take a step back and not do exactly what God is calling me to do? It's scary, and it sucks, and it really sucks to have to admit my faults and my failures, and to take accountability for where I really have been wrong. It sucks, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I know that God has a good purpose for that. And if I can just stand in that assurance alone, how much greater is my future going to be? How much greater is my kids' future going to be? My husband's future, my sisters and their children, like everybody. You're right, you guys. And that one person that told me, like, it was just so, like, thinking about why I even started this in the first place. I didn't start this for me. I started it because God told me to. And whenever I first started, before I came in here, I argued with God. I argued with him. I was like, why would you have me come in here talking to people with addiction when I don't struggle? Like, that's not my struggle. How can I be able to have anything to say to these people that I've never been in their shoes? I've touched on some things, but I've never struggled with addiction. And God's like, you're looking at it wrong. You're only seeing what you can see, but not what I can see. And he said, you are going to be there not for addiction. You're there for the issue behind the addiction. It's brokenness. It's the hurt that led them into addiction. And that is like, I'm starting to really believe in that purpose. And whenever I go back and I think about all the chapels that I have done already, that's what it's been about, is facing the root issues behind. I don't think I've once come in here and said anything to you guys about your alcoholism or your addictions, like none of that. It's always been about the brokenness and how to overcome that or how to work through it. And that is why I'm here. That is why I'm here, and I'm not going to stop, because I went through all of those things believing in a purpose that God was going to use it, and now that he's using it, now I want to not do it? Like, what the heck is that? So, huh? Right? Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of times I don't see it. I feel like I just get up here and I talk a lot of I just talk. But it's real. And that's one thing that this person also went on to say. He said, I said, it gets really sucky whenever, like, having to be so open. Like, I literally wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't hold back. I really don't, except my own faults and failures. But as far as the hurt goes, the hurt that I've experienced and what I've had to endure and what I'm having to endure now to be able to unlearn all of that and learn what all of the right stuff is and all of this and that, like, there's so much good in that I can give to other people while I'm walking through it. I don't think I can get any more real than while I'm going through it. And I did tell Mr. Mark, I was like, it really sucks, like, while I'm having to walk through it, also be an encouragement to somebody else before I even see it over here. I don't see what the outcome is going to be, but I know that I can trust that it's going to be good as long as that God is in it. And God is in it. Has he not been in it this entire time that I've been up here sharing with you guys? He's in it. Mr. Mark will want to hear you.
I think what that is you keep saying is what you're going through, but I'm telling you, it's all of us going through it together. It might not be the same identical thing, but like I said, every time you speak, you are yelling at me, and you help me because I look at what different things in my life, and you're opening my eyes to situations that I've shut down, I've suppressed, I haven't walked through. And every time you speak, you help me walk through different things. So I thank you.
All right. I think that's all that I have for today. But seriously, just write that down if you have to. I might even just write up a card for all of us to have, just to carry as reminders of why we're here, and what we're supposed to be doing while we're here. And because I've said it to you before, and I'll say this again, is that you guys aren't here just to sober up. You're not here just to be clean. You're not here to just have a place to stay. God has such a big purpose for you in this room right now that you just can't see yet. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, God has me right here for a purpose that I don't fully see yet. But as you trust it and you walk through it day by day, sometimes moment by moment by moment, you start to get a little bit closer and you see a little bit of a purpose in that moment. And it's going to push you to the next one. And then the next one, and then the next one. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. And I'm going to be that example to you guys in the only way that I know how, and that's just to keep showing up. Keep showing up and just keep doing what I'm supposed to do. My little girl, whenever she prays, she always ends it with, and just keep doing what you do, God. And I love that. Like, that's like our whole, like, family thing is, like, just keep doing what you do, God. Whatever it is you do, just keep doing it. And I love when Pastor talks about the simplicity of a child. It's as simple as that. Just do what you do, God. And, innocence, yes. Yep. Good job. You're paying better attention than I was. I tried. I was tired yesterday. But anyway, if you guys would just join me for prayer, and I really pray that you guys just have a really good day, a good week. I don't know what struggles you have today. I'm here for a little bit if you want to talk. I got these 3 little crazies, but they did great. Did you want to say hi? That's not saying
Hi and bye.
You want to say hi? That's my sister's little girl. She stayed the night last night. Last time we tried it, she didn't make it. But she made it all night last night, and that's her first time to stay the night somewhere, so that was pretty cool. All right.